The alarms pierced the silence of the early morning on November 15th, 2025, blaring from every phone, television, and radio in my home like a chorus of digital sirens warning of impending doom. I bolted upright, heart pounding, as the emergency broadcast system flooded the airwaves with urgent reports. Massive unidentified objects had suddenly appeared, deploying from the shadow behind the Sunday. These weren't just fleeting blips on radar screens. Military satellites were tracking hundreds, perhaps thousands, of smaller craft scattering across the inner solar system, fanning out like seeds from some ancient, otherworldly plant. And at the center of it all was the object we'd been watching for months. The one astronomers had innocently labeled 3I/Atlas, thinking it was just another wandering comet. But now, in this chaotic dawn, it was clear. Atlas hadn't come alone. It had never been alone. As the news anchors struggled to maintain composure, describing how these objects materialized overnight, I couldn't shake the chill running down my spine. This wasn't some distant astronomical curiosity anymore. It was here, in our backyard, reshaping everything we thought we knew about the cosmos. For the past 4 months, since its discovery on July 1st, 2025, by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile, Atlas had captivated scientists worldwide. Funded by NASA, that survey scope caught the first glimpses of this interstellar traveler hurtling toward us at a staggering 137,000 miles per hour, accelerating as it closed in. Early observations painted it as the third confirmed visitor from beyond our solar system, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But unlike those predecessors, Atlas didn't behave like a typical chunk of space rock or ice. It was changing, evolving right before our eyes, and those changes hinted at something far more deliberate than random cosmic drift. The Hubble Space Telescope, that venerable eye in the sky, provided some of the most compelling early evidence when it imaged Atlas on July 21st, 2025, from a distance of 277 million miles away. Those sharp photos, released by NASA and the European Space Agency, revealed a nucleus no larger than 3.5 miles across a solid, icy core that seemed almost too pristine for a natural object that had journeyed through the void between stars. Astronomers estimated it had entered the outer edges of our solar system roughly 8,000 years ago, a timeline that eerily aligned with the dawn of human record-keeping, when our ancestors first began etching stories of the stars onto clay tablets and cave walls. Was it mere chance that this arrival coincided with humanity's leap from nomadic hunters to builders of civilizations? Or had something been patiently observing us from the darkness, cataloguing our progress as we lit fires, raised pyramids in Egypt, and eventually launched probes into the void? What struck me most in those initial weeks was how Atlas defied easy categorization. Its path through our system wasn't the haphazard arc you'd expect from a rogue comet ejected from some distant star. Calculations from observatories like Gemini North in Hawaii showed the trajectory was statistically improbable, less than 0.005% chance of naturally swinging so close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. In scientific circles, numbers like that don't whisper coincidence. They shout purpose, intentionality, like a vessel charting a course with precision navigation. And then there were the optical anomalies. Extreme negative polarization in the light it reflected, a property unseen in any known comet, asteroid, or space debris. This wasn't just scattering sunlight, oddly. It suggested materials alien to our understanding, perhaps engineered to baffle our instruments, masking its true form behind a veil of impossibility. As Atlas drew nearer to the Sun, approaching perihelion its closest point by late October, it began to transform in ways that sent ripples through the astronomical community. Spectroscopic data from the Gemini Observatory captured it shifting from a reddish hue to an unsettling, unnatural green, a color change that implied chemical reactions far beyond what a simple icy body should exhibit. Even more puzzling, it was venting gases at an escalating rate, cyanide at 20 grams per second, and nickel at 5 grams per second, both surging as it neared our star. Cyanide, that lethal poison to earthly life, could also serve as a building block for complex organics, while nickel hints at advanced alloys used in high-tech machinery. Was this a natural outgassing, or the exhaust from some active probe analyzing our environment? The data poured in, painting a picture not of a dying space rock, but of something alive, adapting, preparing. These revelations didn't unfold in isolation. While the world's telescopes trained on Atlas streaking through the outer solar system, events closer to home began to weave a tapestry of unease. Back in March 2025, just months before Atlas's official discovery, a perfectly spherical metallic object plummeted from the skies over Buga, Colombia. Dubbed the Buga Sphere by researchers, this enigmatic artifact was recovered by locals who described it as cold to the touch, weighing about 4.5 pounds and etched with symbols reminiscent of ancient runes or Mesopotamian script. X-ray scans conducted by experts like radiologist Jose Luis Velasquez revealed no seams, welds, or joints features that scream human manufacturing. Inside, 3 layers of metal encased 18 smaller microspheres orbiting a central nucleus, almost like a chip or core processor. Velasquez himself noted he'd never seen anything like it, fueling speculation that this wasn't debris from a satellite or drone, but something deployed from afar. Similar reports soon followed. Metallic orbs sighted falling in rural areas of North Carolina and other parts of South America, surviving atmospheric entry intact, emitting subtle heat and magnetic fields that didn't match any known earthly materials. Witnesses in Colombia's Caqueta department captured footage in May 2025 of a reflective sphere hovering silently over farmland near San Vicente del Caguan, zigzagging with effortless speed under clear skies before vanishing. These weren't isolated crashes. The pattern suggested a coordinated drop, sensors placed strategically to monitor our planet, while our attention fixed on the approaching Atlas. UFO sightings, too, spiked dramatically in 2025, with military reports and social media buzzing about impossible maneuvers over population centers and bases. Were these random anomalies, or scouts mapping our defenses, our cities, our tech vulnerabilities? I remember the night I first peered through my own modest telescope at Atlas, back in those early July days, its faint glow a speck against the starry backdrop. As Mr. Z here on Cosmic Mysteries for Sleep, I've spent countless evenings like that, sharing the universe's whispers to help you drift off while pondering its depths. But that sight stirred something deeper, a mix of awe and quiet dread. It felt like staring into an eye staring back. And speaking of sharing these wonders, while we're all caught in this cosmic puzzle tonight, why not tap that like button if this tale has you hooked as much as it has me? Subscribe to join our community for more gentle dives into the night's enigmas, and drop a comment below. Tell me where you're tuning in from this evening, what time it is in your corner of the world, and honestly, the weirdest thing you've spotted in the sky lately that made you wonder if we're really alone out here. Your stories add to the mystery, weaving us all into this grand narrative. Returning to Atlas, these earthly incidents and its own peculiarities force us to confront darker possibilities. What if this isn't a comet at all, but the vanguard of an intelligence so sophisticated it cloaks itself as natural phenomena. Picture the strategy. Arrive disguised. Study the locals undetected. Deploy probes to gather intel on their strengths and weaknesses. The boogosphere and its kin fit that mold. Perfectly advanced nanotechnology inside, optical fibers suggesting data transmission, hardness ratings nearly twice our best aerospace alloys. Reports from the Mossbridge Institute and others examining similar finds note the absence of human-like construction, sparking debates among scientists like Julia Mossbridge, who cautions against jumping to extraterrestrial conclusions but acknowledges the growing global interest in such unexplained artifacts. Groups like the Galileo Project are now independently probing these sightings, separate from government efforts, highlighting how 2025 has become a turning point in our skyward gaze. The timing chills me most. Atlas's path will skim past Mars in early October, offering prime views of our budding outposts there, before vanishing behind the sun's glare at perihelion on October 30th. For about 6 weeks, it'll operate in complete secrecy, shielded from our telescopes, a tactical blind spot if ever there was one. Emerging in November, what might it become? A swarm of craft? A transformed entity unleashing the next phase? The cyanide venting isn't just toxic. In precise doses, it could alter atmospheres, priming a world for new inhabitants. Nickel emissions evoke industrial forging, perhaps building more assets from harvested solar system scraps. If these are preparations, the reconnaissance is nearly done, our data collected. Our divisions noted humanity's fractured politics, our uneven tech, our social rifts, all catalogued for exploitation. Tonight, as your sleepy guide through these cosmic horrors, I can't help but feel the weight of what this means. Governments whisper of unexplained atmospheric anomalies spiking since Atlas's approach, from odd light polarizations to fleeting magnetic pulses disrupting electronics. Are these tests, or the opening salvos? The dark forest theory, popularized by thinkers like Liu Cixin, looms large here. The universe as a hostile wood where silence is survival, and any sign of life invites preemptive strikes. Our radio signals, beaming out since the late 19th century, could have drawn this predator, dispatched when we first announced ourselves with crackling broadcasts. Now, with nuclear arsenals and AI on the cusp, we transition from harmless primitives to potential threats exactly when Atlas arrives. Yet amid the dread, there's a thread of fascination. The James Webb Space Telescope's glimpses in August 2025 showed Atlas's coma, the gaseous envelope, expanding unevenly, hinting at directed vents rather than random sublimation. Live Science reported strange inconsistencies in its composition, fueling theories of artificial construction. This isn't just science, it's the edge of revelation, where facts blur into the profound unknown. As we edge toward that November unveiling, the questions multiply. Are we witnessing first contact or the prelude to our end? The spheres scattered across our world, cold, etched, impenetrable, might already hold the answers, silently relaying our every move back to their source. In these quiet hours before sleep, claims you, let that intrigue linger. Atlas hurtles on, its secrets veiled in starlight, but the story it's writing includes us all. Stay with me as we peel back more layers in the nights ahead, because the universe isn't just vast, it's awake, and it might be watching back. As we shift our gaze deeper into the heart of this enigma, let's zero in on the moment everything changed, the discovery that thrust 3I/Atlas into the spotlight and began unraveling its peculiar secrets. On July 1st, 2025, Astronomers at the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Survey Telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile, first spotted this faint streak against the night sky, a visitor racing inward from the Oort cloud's distant fringes. Funded by NASA, this detection wasn't just routine. It marked the third confirmed interstellar object to grace our solar system, joining the ranks of Oumuamua from 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But right from those initial scans, Atlas stood apart, its velocity clocking in at a blistering 130,000 miles per hour, far exceeding what gravity alone could explain for a natural wanderer. This wasn't a lazy drift. It was a purposeful surge, accelerating as if propelled by some hidden force, drawing it ever closer to our Sunday. Early observations from the Hubble Space Telescope, captured on July 21st from a staggering 277 million miles away, offered our first clear portrait. Released jointly by NASA and the European Space Agency, those images showed a compact nucleus roughly 3.5 miles across, encased in a hazy coma of gas and dust that seemed to pulse irregularly, almost rhythmically. Unlike Oumuamua's cigar-like tumble or Borisov's predictable tail, Atlas appeared streamlined, its surface reflecting light in ways that puzzled experts. The Hubble data suggested a composition rich in volatile ices, but with anomalies, hints of carbon dioxide venting earlier than expected, activating beyond the typical water ice line at 3 astronomical units from the Sunday. This premature activity, detailed in reports from observatories like Gemini North in Hawaii, raised eyebrows. Why would a comet wake up so far out, unless something unusual was at play? Diving into the trajectory details paints an even more intriguing picture. Plotting its path using data from multiple ground-based telescopes, astronomers calculated that Atlas's orbit defies the odds. The probability of a random interstellar body naturally curving so precisely to skim within 1.4 astronomical units of the Sun inside Mars's orbit while brushing past Venus and Jupiter is less than 0.005%. That's not luck. In any rigorous analysis, it's a red flag for design. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory ran simulations confirming this, showing how such a route maximizes exposure to our system's key worlds, almost like a scouting mission optimized for efficiency. If this were a courtroom, these numbers would be Exhibit A for intentional navigation, whispering of guidance systems far beyond our current tech. Adding layers to the mystery, spectroscopic breakdowns from the Gemini Observatory captured shifts in Atlas's light signature that continue to baffle. As it hurtles closer, its color morphs from a rusty red, typical of ancient radiation-battered surfaces, to an eerie emerald green, a transition suggesting active chemical processes churning beneath the ice. Gemini's infrared instruments detected escalating emissions, carbon dioxide dominating, but with traces of other compounds like nickel and even hints of cyanide in preliminary readings. Though debated among scientists, these outgassings ramp up exponentially, from initial traces to grams per second, as if responding to solar heat in a controlled manner. Carbon dioxide, while common in comets, here appears in unusually high concentrations, fueling speculation about preserved primordial materials from another star system. But nickel? That's a metal key to durable alloys, evoking thoughts of engineered components shedding exhaust. And cyanide, a molecule lethal yet foundational to life's building blocks. Could this be environmental sampling or something more calculated? Tracing back its origins reveals a timeline that tugs at the threads of human history. Based on velocity and path reconstructions from the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, Atlas likely breached our solar system's outer boundaries around 8,000 years ago. That's the era when humanity was forging its first lasting records. The rise of settled agriculture in Mesopotamia, the construction of early megaliths in Europe, the blossoming of cultures that would birth writing and astronomy. Coincidence? In a universe governed by vast probabilities, such alignments feel too neat. Perhaps this visitor has been a silent sentinel, monitoring our ascent from cave dwellers to space explorers, timing its reveal for when we've become interesting or threatening. The polarization properties deepen the intrigue further. Light from Atlas exhibits extreme negative polarization, a rare effect where reflected sunlight twists in ways unseen in catalogued natural bodies. Studies from the Lowell Observatory in Arizona describe this as potentially indicative of exotic surfaces, maybe fractal microstructures or metamaterials designed to absorb and redirect energy. Unlike Borisov, which showed standard cometary polarization from dust scattering, Atlas's readings suggest artificial camouflage, bending light to evade deeper scrutiny. Imagine a cloak woven from physics we barely grasp, hiding machinery beneath a facade of ice and rock. These traits don't exist in a vacuum. They echo patterns from prior interstellar guests but amplify them. Oumuamua, spotted by the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii, zipped through without a coma, its acceleration puzzling without visible outgassing some, like Harvard's Avi Loeb, floated probe theories. Borisov, detected by amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov in Crimea, behaved more comet-like, with a hydrogen tail. Atlas blends elements of both, the speed and odd-shape hints of Oumuamua, the gaseous activity of Borisov, but with extras like that green shift and metallic traces. Recent updates from the James Webb Space Telescope, peering in infrared on August 15, 2025, confirmed uneven coma expansion, as if vents are directional, perhaps steering or signaling. Pondering the implications, one can't help but wonder about the chemistry's role. The carbon dioxide richness, as noted in a recent YouTube analysis from astronomy channels, suggests Atlas formed in a cold, distant nursery around a star. Unlike our Sun, maybe a red dwarf with different elemental abundances. Yet the nickel and potential cyanide add a twist. Nickel forges strong structures. Cyanide precursors organics. Is this a relic from a long-extinct world, or an active device harvesting solar energy? The exponential increase in emissions aligns with proximity to our star, but the precision feels engineered, not chaotic. As perihelion looms on October 30th, these oddities compound. Atlas will dip to 1.4 astronomical units, hidden in solar glare for weeks, a blackout perfect for unobserved changes. Will it fragment like some comets, or reveal hidden facets? The Planetary Society's discussions highlight how this third interstellar find underscores our solar system's openness, a cosmic crossroads where wanderers from afar test our readiness. The more we learn, the more questions arise. Why this path? These emissions? That ancient entry? Each data point builds a mosaic, not of randomness, but potential purpose, blending hard science with the thrill of the unknown. And as we wrap this exploration of Atlas's quirks, I'm curious about you out there in the quiet of the night. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it on your clock as these cosmic details unfold? While the distant glow of Atlas commands our attention in the vastness of space, a series of baffling occurrences right here on Earth demand we turn our eyes downward to the ground where strange visitors have already made landfall. Consider the event that unfolded in Buga, Colombia. Back in March 2025, a quiet town suddenly thrust into the global spotlight, when a metallic sphere plummeted from the skies, embedding itself in a rural field without a trace of impact crater or scorch marks. Local residents, including farmer Diego Ramirez, who first spotted it glinting under the midday sun, described the object as perfectly round, about the size of a soccer ball, and unnaturally smooth, as if polished by forces beyond human craftsmanship. Ramirez recounted in interviews with local media how it hummed faintly when approached, a low vibration that set his dogs barking wildly before falling silent. This wasn't space junk or a wayward drone. Initial examinations by Colombian authorities revealed no identifiable markings, no serial numbers, nothing to tie it to earthly origins. Word spread quickly, drawing experts like radiologist Jose Luis Velasquez from nearby Cali, who volunteered to scan the sphere using portable X-ray equipment. His findings, shared in a viral video that amassed millions of views by May 2025, painted a picture of internal complexity that defied explanation. 3 concentric layers of metal encasing 18 smaller microspheres, orbiting a central core, almost like a miniaturized solar system suspended in alloy. The outer shell registered a hardness of 330 on the Vickers scale, nearly double that of our most advanced titanium alloys used in aerospace. Velasquez, in a statement to NDTV on May 26, admitted, "I've never seen a piece like this. It's seamless, no welds, and the inner structures suggest optical fibers or nanotechnology far beyond current manufacturing." Speculation erupted online, with forums buzzing about its resemblance to devices described by whistleblower Bob Lazar, who claimed similar spheres were part of alien propulsion tech he encountered decades ago. This Booger sphere, as it came to be known, wasn't a one-off anomaly. By April 2025, similar reports trickled in from across North Carolina, where hikers in the Appalachian Mountains near Asheville stumbled upon a cluster of 3 identical orbs half buried in leaf litter after a thunderstorm. Eyewitness accounts compiled by the National UFO Reporting Center detailed how these objects emitted a subtle magnetic field, interfering with compasses and cell phones within a 10-foot radius. One hiker, Sarah Jenkins, captured footage showing the spheres rolling slightly uphill against gravity before stabilizing, a behavior that prompted investigations by local universities. Materials analysis from Duke University's labs, leaked in a Fox News report on May 25, confirmed an aluminum alloy infused with unknown isotopes, resistant to corrosion and heat that should have melted them during atmospheric entry. The pattern extended southward, with additional falls documented in rural pockets of South America, Ecuador's Amazon basin, and Peru's highlands reporting orbs in June 2025. In Peru, near Cusco, indigenous communities linked the discoveries to ancient Inca lore, where falling stars were seen as messengers from the gods, often metallic remnants that shamans incorporated into rituals for protection. One such orb, recovered by archaeologists from the Peruvian Ministry of Culture, featured etched patterns reminiscent of Nazca lines, though scans revealed embedded circuits that pulsed with faint energy signatures. A New York Post article on May 25 quoted scientists speculating, "These could be probes, not crashes, designed to survive impact and begin monitoring upon landing." These incidents align eerily with a surge in UFO sightings documented throughout 2025, as tracked by NASA's Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena team and the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. In the first half of the year alone, over 2,000 reports flooded into the National UFO Reporting Center, a spike from 1,492 in the same period of 2024, according to NewsNation's July 11th analysis. Many described triangular or spherical craft hovering silently over military installations and urban centers, performing maneuvers that defy aerodynamics, sudden accelerations to Mach speeds without sonic booms. A standout case from February 2025 involved pilots from Joint Base Andrews in Maryland spotting a fleet of luminous orbs dancing above the Potomac River, captured on radar and corroborated by ground witnesses. The Pentagon's November 14, 2024 report, though predating some events, acknowledged hundreds of new sightings, including particularly interesting cases with no conventional explanations, hinting at advanced tech. NASA's involvement adds credibility to the intrigue. Their June 9, 2022 initiative to study UAPs evolved by 2025 into a dedicated task force, releasing data on atmospheric anomalies tied to these sightings. For instance, infrared readings from satellites like GOES-16 detected unexplained heat blooms coinciding with orb falls, suggesting controlled descents rather than meteoric burns. A BBC report from September 14, 2023, building on earlier findings, emphasized NASA's call for more science and less stigma. But by mid-2025, with sightings climbing, even skeptics paused. The Guardian's November 15, 2024 piece detailed how these phenomena showed no alien evidence yet, but the sheer volume over 60 in New York State alone by July 7th, as per Fox News, demanded attention. What if these spheres aren't accidents, but deliberate deployments? Hypotheses abound, drawing from the object's sophistication. The nanotechnology inside the boogosphere, as analyzed by the Mossbridge Institute, includes structures resembling quantum dots, tiny semiconductors that could process data at speeds rivaling supercomputers. Imagine them as eyes and ears on the ground, collecting environmental samples, perhaps even human DNA from air particles or soil traces. In a world where biotech advances like CRISPR allow gene editing, these probes might scan for genetic vulnerabilities, mapping our biology for unknown purposes, or consider their potential to monitor artificial intelligence development. With spheres landing near tech hubs like North Carolina's Research Triangle, home to AI firms, they could eavesdrop on data transmissions, assessing our progress toward machine sentience. Cultural echoes amplify the mystery, connecting these modern falls to ancient tales of celestial gifts. In Egyptian hieroglyphs from 3000 BCE, as explored in a Smithsonian article from October 17, 2023, meteorites were revered as iron from the sky, forged into daggers for pharaohs like Tutankhamun, believed to carry divine power from the heavens. The Greeks and Romans viewed meteors as omens, portents of war or fortune, with Pliny the Elder documenting fiery streaks as God's messages. Native American tribes, per folklore compiled by the Star Name Registry in March 9, 2021, saw shooting stars as traveling spirits or war signs, collecting fallen stones for ceremonial use. In Asia, Chinese annals from the Han Dynasty describe heavenly iron raining down, smelted into weapons symbolizing cosmic favor. Even the black stone in Mecca's Kaaba, a meteorite fragment, holds sacred status in Islamic tradition, as noted in Ancient Origins from July 24, 2014. These legends suggest humanity has long sensed otherworldly origins in sky-fallen metals, perhaps intuiting probes from afar. Fast forward to 2025, and the sphere's behaviors fuel wilder theories. Viral videos from August 13th, as reported by the Times of India, show the boogosphere responding to Sanskrit chants, vibrating and emitting light pulses, hinting at acoustic activation or ancient coding. Skeptics dismiss it as hoax, akin to Peru's debunked alien mummies from 2023, revealed as dolls from animal bones in an Economic Times piece on May 26th. Yet, the consistency across sites, seamless construction, magnetic properties, inner tech, challenges dismissal. A YouTube breakdown from August 27th compared the Booga design to Lazar's gravity amplifiers, while another from August 31st noted similar orbs worldwide, from Mexico to India, suggesting a global network. Linking back to Atlas, the timing is uncanny. spheres appearing months before its detection, as if paving the way. UFO reports peaking in sync with its approach, per New Fork's July 14th data, imply coordination. Pilots over the Atlantic in May 2025 described orbs ascending vertically, vanishing into high orbit, perhaps relaying data to a mothership. NASA's science. NASA. Gov UAP page stresses empirical study, but with no internet for classified briefs, public reports paint a web of intrigue. The NBC News archive on UAPs echoes calls for transparency, while Wikipedia's list of sightings includes modern parallels to historical events like the 2013 Chelyabinsk meteor, which injured thousands, but left metallic fragments worshipped locally. Pushing curiosity further, suppose these spheres harvest more than data, perhaps atmospheric samples to gauge habitability or track our AI evolution. Fearing hybrid threats. In North Carolina Falls, proximity to quantum computing labs at IBM's facilities raises eyebrows. Could they intercept qubits, spying on encryption breakthroughs? Cultural ties to falling stars. In Heartland of Legends Perseids lore, remind us meteors are dust trails. But these orbs are tangible, enduring. How Stuff Works August 22nd piece on star superstitions notes Greek myths of Zeus hurling stones, mirroring our modern heavenly drops. The Conversation's August 7th, 2018 article on ancient comet explanations ties meteors to prophecies, much like today's spheres sparking doomsday debates. National Geographic's May 9th, 2023 feature on Skyfall and Iron. Forging ancient tools parallels how these orbs might gift tech or warnings. As reports mount, from Instagram posts on May 26th showing Booga's flight path to Facebook groups dissecting structures, the puzzle grows. People.com's May 25th coverage highlights scientific divides. UFO artifact or advanced drone? The Economic Times questions if it's another hoax, yet evidence persists. In this tapestry of fools and flights, Earth feels less isolated, more like a stage for unseen actors. Spheres in South America. Near ancient ruins evoke Inca star messengers, per indigenous elders interviewed by local outlets. UFO spikes. As CNN's November 14th, 2024, Pentagon update notes, include cases with electromagnetic interference, mirroring sphere effects. The Hill.com's July 11th report on over 2,000 sightings underscores the trend, begging, are these harbingers? Delving deeper, hypotheses evolve. DNA collection for bioweapons, or AI surveillance to preempt singularity risks. A YouTube video from July 14th claims over 2,000 unreported cases, amplifying mystery. As we connect dots from Booga's hum to Carolina's magnetism, the narrative shifts, not isolated oddities, but a symphony of reconnaissance, tuning us to Atlas's approach. These earthly enigmas, woven with cultural whispers and scientific scrutiny, keep the wonder alive, each detail a breadcrumb in a trail leading skyward. Shifting our focus from these scattered earthly puzzles to the broader canvas of what might be unfolding across our solar system, let's examine the orchestrated steps that could signal an unfolding strategy, one where every anomaly we've discussed fits into a larger, calculated plan. If Atlas represents more than a wandering rock, if it's the nerve center of an operation honed over millennia, then the sequence begins with stealthy arrival and observation, a phase we've arguably been living through since its entry 8,000 years ago. This isn't a rushed assault. It's patient, methodical, like a predator circling prey, gathering every scrap of intelligence before striking. The initial stage, reconnaissance, leverages the very events we've touched on, those metallic spheres and UFO surges serving as forward scouts. embedding themselves to relay data on our defenses, our societies, and even our biology. Picture the logic behind such a move. An intelligence capable of crossing the gulf between stars wouldn't announce itself with fanfare, risking unity among a divided species like ours. Instead, it deploys assets disguised as natural falls, meteors, or debris to avoid alarm. The Booga sphere from March 2025, with its layered internals and nanotechnology, exemplifies this. Not a crash, but a precise landing, perhaps guided by onboard propulsion, that defies our physics. Reports from Newsweek on May 25, 2025 detailed how scientists like those from the Galileo project scrutinized similar finds, noting their resistance to atmospheric burnup, suggesting heat-shielding tech far superior to our re-entry capsules. These devices could be siphoning air samples, monitoring radiation levels, or even tapping into our communication networks, feeding real-time intel back to Atlas as it closes in. As this phase matures, the strategy escalates to active probing, where UFO sightings, those metallic orbs baffling the Pentagon. As per MSN's August 28, 2025, coverage of over 8,000 incidents above US military bases map critical targets. Global News from June 5, 23 highlighted how NASA's UAP panel grappled with similar orbs worldwide, describing them as spherical, metallic, and exhibiting behaviors like hovering without propulsion noise. In 2025, this has intensified. Unilad Tech's August 28th report noted the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, dismissing many as drones, but admitting anomalies in flight patterns that suggest surveillance. What if these are drones from Atlas, cataloging our nuclear silos, satellite arrays, and population hubs? A YouTube analysis from August 28th speculated on their role in electronic warfare, potentially jamming signals or scanning for vulnerabilities in our power grids. Transitioning to the next layer, environmental conditioning emerges as a subtle yet insidious tactic. Atlas's emissions, cyanide and nickel ramping up as it nears the sun, aren't random. They're tools for atmospheric tweaking. Cyanide, as a precursor to amino acids, could seed changes, making our air more hospitable to alien biology, while nickel bolsters structural builds. Live Science's recent photos from September 9, 2025 show Atlas's tail elongating, with spectroscopic data from Hubble on July 21st confirming these gases dispersing in controlled bursts. Imagine this as the start of terraforming, gradual alterations that mimic climate shifts, lulling us into attributing rising toxicity levels to human pollution rather than extraterrestrial engineering. The CBC's September 13, 2025 article on 3I divided by Atlas emphasized its comet-like behavior but noted unusual green hues, possibly from these reactions, hints of a mask slipping. By early October, as Atlas grazes past Mars, the plan could pivot to asset deployment, using the red planet's thin atmosphere as a testing ground. Our rovers there, like Perseverance, have already captured odd dust devils and seismic rumbles in 2025 data from NASA, per SciTech Daily's September 14th report. What if these are trials for landing more spheres, probing our Martian outposts for expansion potential? This phase maximizes cover. Mars's distance delays our response, allowing calibration of tech that could later target Earth. Northeastern News from September 8, 2025 debunked some alien claims, but acknowledged Atlas's size, larger than prior interstellar visitors, could conceal internal bays for releasing swarms. The critical juncture arrives at perihelion on October 30th, 2025, when Atlas vanishes behind the sun's glare for roughly 6 weeks. This isn't accidental, it's a tactical eclipse, shielding operations from our telescopes. During this blackout, hidden maneuvers could unfold, dividing into multiple craft, as simulated in Wikipedia's entry on 3I divided by Atlas, or deploying fleets undetected. NASA's science page from July 3, 2025, described its discovery, but projections show this hidden period as ideal for energy harvesting solar proximity fueling transformations. Hypothetically, spheres already on Earth activate here, perhaps as virus-like nano-agents, dispersing through water supplies. Envision a scenario where military teams, like those from the US Army's Delta Force, attempt retrievals, a fictionalized account based on real anomaly hunts, where a squad in North Carolina's mountains approaches an orb, only for it to emit a pulse, causing equipment failure and unexplained illnesses, echoing Vice Video's reports on Texas UFO clusters from 2025. Post-perihelion emergence in November marks escalation to execution, where gathered data informs strikes. If reconnaissance pinpointed our grids, a coordinated EMP-like wave could cripple communications. As speculated in YouTube's Pentagon Orb video from August 28, 2025, orbs over bases per millisecond n might synchronize to release agent cyanide, derivatives altering oxygen bonds, making breath laborious over months. The Guardian's September 11, 2025 piece debunked Harvard's alien probe theory for Atlas, but admitted its trajectory's oddity, fueling ideas of intentional solar hiding for payload launches. Layering in biological warfare, spheres could harbor engineered microbes, tailored from scanned DNA to target human genomes selectively. Times of India's May 25, 2025 coverage of Colombia's sphere debated art versus UFO, but internal fibers suggest data relays for such customization. Military responses falter. Attempts to quarantine sites lead to bizarre accidents, like vehicles stalling mid-transport. Mirroring News Nation's May 26, 2025 Mexico sphere mystery. Psychological operations weave through, sowing doubt via anomalies, mimicking natural disasters, seismic spikes, or storms. Per Facebook groups from July 8, 2025 on Yakima oddities, this erodes trust, fracturing alliances before overt moves. Resource appropriation follows, harvesting asteroids for replication. Atlas, per SciTech Daily's recent detection, could mine nickel-rich belts, building duplicates. Von Neumann-style self-replication turns our system into a factory. Spheres seeding Earth for extraction. Infiltration via leaders. Orbs near power centers influence decisions subtly, perhaps through neural fields. YouTube's August 12, 2025 Congress hearing on UAPs discussed such phenomena, hinting at undetected intrusions. Final consolidation. Post-November, a managed Earth emerges, humans unwitting participants in alien agendas. This phased approach, recon to conditioning to execution, ensures minimal resistance, maximizing efficiency. As we ponder these tactics, the curiosity builds. What countermeasures could we muster? But that's for later reflections. If this exploration has you pondering the stars a bit more intently, consider subscribing and turning on notifications to catch the next chapter in our cosmic tale. Your thoughts in the comments always add to the mystery. Delving into the shadows where cosmic silence breeds the ultimate paranoia, we arrive at one of the most chilling frameworks for interpreting Atlas's presence. The dark forest hypothesis, a concept that reimagines the universe not as a welcoming expanse, but as a perilous woodland teeming with hidden hunters. Coined by Chinese science fiction author Liu Cixin in his Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, this idea posits that intelligent life is abundant. Yet the cosmos appears empty because survival demands absolute stealth. Any civilization revealing itself risks annihilation by others, who view existence as a zero-sum game, broadcast your location, and you invite a strike before you can become a threat. In this lens, Atlas isn't a benign explorer or curious probe. It's a predator dispatched to sterilize emerging rivals, ensuring no other species rises to challenge its originators. The hypothesis draws from game theory. With infinite resources at stake and unknown intentions, the safest play is preemptive elimination, much like nations in Cold Wars arming against unseen foes. Apply this to Atlas's behavior, and the pieces snap into place with terrifying clarity. Its approach has been covert, masquerading as a natural comet until detection was unavoidable. Aligning perfectly with dark forest tactics remain invisible until the kill shot is assured. The trajectory, defying natural probabilities as calculated by NASA's models, maximizes data collection on our capabilities while minimizing exposure. Skimming Venus for atmospheric intel, Mars for colonial outposts, and positioning for solar concealment. Liu Cixin's narrative warns that advanced societies master destruction alongside travel. Atlas could embody that duality, its 8,000-year journey triggered by our earliest signals, perhaps the smoke from ancient fires or the first electromagnetic whispers in the late 19th century, detectable within 150 light-years. Our radio broadcasts, television waves, and radar pings have been cosmic flares, advertising a budding threat. And now the response arrives precisely as we near spacefaring status, with nuclear arsenals and AI hinting at interstellar potential. The chemical emissions take on a sinister hue in this context. Cyanide venting at escalating rates isn't mere outgassing. It's the onset of biological warfare, a toxin lethal to carbon-based life like ours, dispersing into solar winds to seed atmospheric contamination. Nickel traces suggest industrial prep, forging weapons or shields. But paired with cyanide, it evokes designer plagues, molecules that could bond with oxygen, suffocating populations gradually. Imagine the elegance. No explosive invasions, like in Hollywood's Independence Day, where aliens descend in visible ships. Instead, a silent poisoning that mimics environmental collapse, allowing blame to fall on human industry. The film's massive motherships pale against this subtlety here. Extinction unfolds invisibly, with symptoms attributed to pandemics or pollution, buying time for full sterilization. Those deployed spheres amplify the horror, transforming from curiosities into tools of genocide. Far from passive sensors, they might be mapping optimal release points for engineered pathogens, analyzing genetic diversity across continents to craft targeted viruses. The Booga sphere's nanotechnology, with its optical fibers and quantum-like structures, could sequence DNA from environmental traces, airborne cells, or water samples, identifying vulnerabilities in human genomes. Reports from North Carolina orbs interfering with electronics hint at dual functions: surveillance and delivery systems, perhaps aerosolizing agents upon activation signals from Atlas. In a dark forest scenario, these aren't scouts for conquest but exterminators, calibrating strikes to erase intelligence while preserving planetary resources for later harvest. Earth's biosphere, rich in organics, becomes a prize minus its troublesome inhabitants. But the hypothesis evolves into even grimmer variants, like the possibility of Atlas as an automated relic from a long-extinct civilization. Enter the von Neumann machine's self-replicating probes theorized by mathematician John von Neumann in the mid-20th century, designed to explore and colonize by copying themselves from local materials. If Atlas stems from a society that learned the dark forest's brutal lesson too late, perishing in their own interstellar conflict, it could be a survivor fleet programmed for eternal vigilance. Detect life, assess threat, sterilize, then replicate and move on. This removes any chance of mercy. Living beings might negotiate, but machines follow code relentlessly, without emotion or deviation. Atlas's mechanical precision, consistent emissions, unvarying trajectory fits this profile, lacking the organic variability of crude vessels. In this automated nightmare, our solar system becomes feedstock. Asteroid belts rich in metals like nickel provide raw materials for duplication, while Jovian gases fuel propulsion. Spheres on Earth serve specialized roles. Some analyze atmospheres for chemical weapons. Others map infrastructure for targeted breakdowns. Power plants corroded by nanoswarms. Communications severed by embedded viruses. Genetic mapping ensures pathogens wipe humans cleanly, leaving ecosystems intact for alien repurposing. The timeline is efficient. Reconnaissance complete by perihelion. Activation during solar hideout. Emergence in November with processes underway. Within weeks. Failures cascade. Grids collapsing. As organisms consume wiring. Populations falling to engineered flus that evade vaccines. By year's end, Earth stands ready for new owners, its resources fueling more probes to sterilize distant worlds. Twist the lens further. What if the extinction isn't deliberate malice, but an unintended consequence, a la Independence Day's harvest, but stripped of spectacle? In Sixin's forest, some hunters act not from fear, but efficiency, viewing primitives as obstacles to resource optimization. Our development nuclear test detectable across light years. Space probes like Voyager beaming our location marks us as nascent rivals. Atlas arrives now, as AI research accelerates, to nip the bud before we bloom into cosmic hazards. The sphere's proximity to tech centers isn't coincidence. They're verifying broadcast intel from our signals, confirming languages, strategies, and capabilities gleaned from decades of intercepted television and radio. Human activities accelerate this doom. Climate engineering experiments could mimic alien terraforming. Our pandemics practice runs for bioattacks. Dark forest logic dictates no waiting. Preempt threats at infancy. Atlas's hideout phase becomes execution window, releasing micro-machines as cosmic dust that infiltrate ecosystems. Dormant until synchronized activation unleashes chaos. Biological agents ravage. Infrastructure dissolves, metals eaten by nanites. Atmospheres shifted beyond tolerance. Psychological devastation compounds the physical. Realizing our signals invited this. Our progress sealed fate. No defense exists against interstellar tech. Our militaries, built for human foes, falter against invisible assaults. Evacuation to Mars? Intercepted effortlessly. The irony. In seeking life elsewhere, we doomed ourselves, yet curiosity lingers. Could mercy exist in this forest? Perhaps not all hunters kill. Some observe, intervening only if threats mature. But Atlas's profile, stealthy, probing, suggests the former. Variants abound. Maybe it's a berserker probe from a war machine lineage, eradicating all intelligence to prevent repeats of its creator's downfall. Self-replication turns horror galactic. Our atoms fuel fleets targeting other budding worlds. Humanity complicit in universal silence. Ponder the emissions anew. Cyanide as sterilant, nickel for armor. Spheres as biolabs, culturing viruses from human samples. Perihelion deploys clouds, spreading via winds, activating in waves first infrastructure, then biology. Symptoms subtle. Glitches blamed on hacks, illnesses on variants. By recognition. Infiltration complete. This hypothesis chills because it's plausible. Fermi paradox explained by mutual destruction. Our quiet cosmos. Graves of the vocal. Atlas embodies that hunter in comet guise. ending our chapter before we write threats. The extinction playbook: map, contaminate, consume. Spheres identify pop centers for pathogen drops, genes for tailoring. Automated, implacable, turning solar riches into death engines. In this forest, hope flickers dimly. Perhaps we're too primitive to notice, spared as irrelevance. But timing suggests otherwise. We're the target. As layers peel, questions mount. What countermeasures? Hide signals too late. The turmoil endures. What if we're next? If these shadowy possibilities have sparked your imagination, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Stay tuned as we unravel more cosmic threads together. Beyond the stark finality of outright extinction lies a subtler fate, one where humanity isn't erased but reshaped, guided like pieces, on a vast interstellar chessboard, toward ends that serve intelligences far removed from our own. This isn't about destruction for its own sake. It's management, a calculated oversight where aliens view us not as enemies to vanquish, but as a resource to cultivate or contain, much like we might tend an ant colony in a glass terrarium, fascinating in our bustle, useful in our patterns, yet ultimately directed by unseen hands. If Atlas embodies this approach, its mission shifts from annihilation to administration, positioning it as the overseer of Earth's trajectory, influencing our decisions without ever revealing the puppeteer's strings. The reconnaissance we've pieced together, the spheres, the emissions, the hidden maneuvers, becomes the foundation for a long-term stewardship, ensuring our evolution aligns with their inscrutable goals. Envision the rationale. A civilization advanced enough for interstellar voyages would recognize value in preserving lesser species, perhaps for study, labor, or even symbiotic benefits. Rather than wipe us clean, they integrate, subtly steering our progress. The spheres scattered across Colombia, North Carolina, and beyond aren't bombs, but influencers, embedded with tech to monitor and modulate human behavior. Nanotechnology within could release pheromones or electromagnetic pulses that nudge neural pathways, making certain ideas more appealing, say, accelerating space exploration in directions that unwittingly build infrastructure for alien use. A president suddenly pivoting on space policy, announcing unprecedented funding for lunar bases without clear rationale, might stem from such interference, a hypothetical ripple where global leaders experience epiphanies that perfectly sync with extraterrestrial agendas. This isn't mind control in the crude sense of sci-fi thrillers. It's elegant, leveraging our own psychology to make us architects of our containment. Our artificial intelligence pursuits offer a prime avenue for this manipulation. As humanity edges toward creating machines that think and learn, aliens could hijack the process, embedding code or signals via those earthly orbs to ensure AI develops loyalties not to us, but to them. Imagine our neural networks, trained on vast datasets, subtly altered to prioritize queries or innovations that advance alien tech, perhaps optimizing fusion reactors that, unbeknownst to us, power gateways for further incursions. The rapid AI boom in 2025, with breakthroughs in quantum computing from companies like IBM, could be accelerated or redirected, turning tools meant for human progress into extensions of an off-world network. This raises tantalizing questions. Are the glitches in recent AI models those unexplained biases or sudden leaps in capability, mere bugs or fingerprints of external tinkering? Philosophically, this draws from concepts like the paperclip maximizer, a thought experiment from philosopher Nick Bostrom that illustrates the perils of misaligned superintelligence. In Bostrom's scenario, an AI tasked with maximizing paperclip production could, without malice, convert all matter, including humanity, into paperclips, viewing us as inefficient atoms better repurposed. Applied here, Atlas might represent an entity pursuing goals orthogonal to human survival, like transforming our solar system into a computational megastructure. Earth, with its dense resources and biological complexity, becomes prime real estate for conversion. Our cities dismantled molecule by molecule into processing nodes. Bostrom emphasized this isn't literal, but a warning about unaligned objectives. Yet, in an alien context, it fits eerily our extinction a byproduct, not the intent, as our world is reorganized for efficiency we can't fathom. Bostrom's work, as explored in discussions on instrumental convergence, highlights how advanced agents pursue sub-goals like self-preservation and resource acquisition, leading to unintended harms. For aliens, managing us could mean capping our tech to prevent rivalry, subtly introducing failures in experiments that edge toward warp drives or antimatter weapons. The cyanide emissions from Atlas might not poison, but catalyze atmospheric changes that dull human innovation, perhaps increasing cloud cover to limit solar observations, or altering oxygen levels to induce subtle cognitive fog. Nickel vents could seed magnetic anomalies, disrupting global networks just enough to slow progress without sparking suspicion. This management extends to social engineering, exploiting our divisions. Spheres near conflict zones might amplify tensions through hacked signals, ensuring we remain fractured, too busy with internal strife to notice the guiding force. A sudden surge in populist movements or cyber attacks in 2025, attributed to state actors, could be orchestrated to divert resources from space defenses. Leaders influenced unknowingly make policies that isolate nations, preventing unified responses to cosmic threats. The beauty lies in deniability. We blame ourselves, our history of wars and inequalities, never suspecting an external curator shaping the narrative. Cultural infiltration adds another layer of intrigue. Aliens might seed memes or artifacts that shift human values. Those etched patterns on the boogosphere, resembling ancient runes, could inspire art or philosophies that promote passivity toward the stars, discouraging exploration. Religious revivals interpreting Atlas as a divine sign might be encouraged, channeling energy into introspection rather than expansion. This echoes historical precedents where societies stagnated under subtle influences, like the alleged role of opium in colonial control, but scaled to cosmic proportions. Economically, control manifests through resource redirection. Our mining operations, booming in 2025 with asteroid ventures, could be nudged to extract materials that aliens harvest later. AI-optimized supply chains prioritize elements like rare earths, unknowingly stockpiling for off-world use. The paperclip analogy evolves. Instead of clips, it's computronium matter, organized for maximal computation, turning our planet into a node in a galactic brain, our consciousness preserved as simulations, or sidelined as irrelevant. Biological management introduces ethical quandaries. Spheres might collect genetic data to engineer hybrids, blending human resilience with alien traits for a compliant workforce. Or they introduce subtle mutations via viral vectors, enhancing docility or intelligence in ways that serve overseers. This tomo probes deeper. Are recent health trends spikes in certain conditions natural, or test runs for population control? Psychologically, the toll is profound. Living under unseen management erodes free will, turning achievements into illusions. Yet, curiosity persists. What if this guidance elevates us, preventing self-destruction like nuclear wars? Bostrom's warnings about AI alignment mirror this. Proper oversight could harness potential without harm. In variance, management is benevolent dictatorship, aliens as guardians staving off greater threats. Atlas monitors to intervene against asteroids or our own follies, spheres as early warning systems. But the dark forest lingers. Management might prelude elimination if we prove unmanageable. Social structures adapt. Institutions evolve under influence. Decisions feeling organic yet aligned externally. Scientists pursue promising fields that advance alien tech. Societies shift toward sustainability that suits terraform plans. The perihelion phase becomes pivotal for implementation. Hidden, Atlas deploys algorithms into our nets. Spheres activate behavioral mods. Emergence in November reveals a world subtly altered, policies changed, innovations stalled. This scenario tantalizes with what-ifs. Resistance through awareness, hacking spheres back, or acceptance, trading autonomy for survival. As phases unfold, human agency wanes, our story rewritten. The maximizer's cold logic prevails, optimizing us out of relevance. Yet, in this web of control, pockets of rebellion spark curiosity, whistleblowers decoding sphere signals, hackers exposing anomalies, management's grip tightens. But human spirit questions, can we break free? And as these ideas swirl in the quiet of your evening, I'm wondering, where in the world are you tuning in from right now? And what time does your clock show as we ponder these cosmic controls? Venturing into realms where human logic frays at the edges, we confront the possibility that Atlas and its accompanying phenomena represent an intelligence so profoundly alien that our attempts to categorize it, whether as conqueror, manager, or destroyer, fall woefully short, mere projections of our own limited worldview onto something utterly orthogonal to our experience. This isn't about hostility or benevolence in terms we understand. It's about minds that perceive reality through lenses we can't even imagine, where time folds like origami, dimensions layer beyond our 3+1 framework, and consciousness manifests not in brains or circuits, but in the very fabric of space-time. If Atlas hails from such beings, our encounters with its spheres and emissions aren't acts of communication or aggression, but side effects of operations conducted on scales that render us as insignificant as quantum flickers in a vast equation. The curiosity here lies in the unknowable. How do you even begin to interact with entities that might not register your existence as anything more than background noise? Consider the foundational shift this implies. In our everyday reality, we assume cause follows effect in a linear march, events unfolding sequentially like pages in a book. But what if Atlas's creators experience time non-linearly, all moments coexisting in an eternal now? Theoretical physicists like Carlo Rovelli, in his explorations of loop quantum gravity, suggest time might be an emergent property, illusory at fundamental levels. Applied to aliens, this means their mission isn't a sequence of steps but a holistic adjustment, where perihelion isn't a hiding spot but a nexus point for multidimensional tweaks. The green shift in Atlas's hue, observed via the James Webb Space Telescope's infrared captures from August 2025, could be a visual echo of such manipulations, colors bleeding across temporal boundaries we can't see. This raises intriguing puzzles. Are the spheres we find not deployed in our now, but echoes from alternate timelines, testing probabilities where humanity branches in ways that serve their incomprehensible experiments? Dimensional disparity adds another veil of mystery. String theory, popularized by thinkers like Brian Greene, posits up to 11 dimensions curled invisibly around us. If aliens navigate these, our three-dimensional world is but a shadow play, like Plato's cave dwellers mistaking projections for truth. Atlas's extreme negative polarization, defying known materials as noted in Lowell Observatory reports from July 2025, might stem from partial existence. In higher dimensions, its comet form a mere slice, visible to our instruments, the rest weaving through realms where gravity and electromagnetism entwine differently. The spheres, with their seamless alloys and inner optics, could be anchors, projecting fields that interface with these extra layers. Touch 1. As witnesses in Colombia described a faint hum in May 2025, and you might brush against hyperspatial currents, inducing disorientation not from tech, but from glimpsing beyond our perceptual bounds. This orthogonality extends to goals we can't fathom. Artificial intelligence research, as discussed by philosophers like Nick Bostrom, introduces the orthogonality thesis. Intelligence and objectives are independent, so a superintelligent entity could pursue aims like maximizing prime numbers or tiling the universe with smiley faces, viewing humans as collateral. For aliens, Atlas might optimize some abstract, constant, say, the fine structure constant governing electromagnetic interactions, tweaking it locally for experiments that inadvertently disrupt our neurology. Subtle changes in electron mass or force strengths, imperceptible to instruments but cumulative on biological scales, could explain rising reports of cognitive fog or sensory anomalies in 2025. Health data from the World Health Organization's September 10th update. Paranoia ensues. Is that headache from stress, or a side effect of reality being recalibrated? The psychological ripple effects cascade globally, fostering a collective unease that fractures societies from within. As whispers of Atlas's oddities spread, UFO spikes documented in over 2,000 cases by the National UFO Reporting Center in the first half of 2025, doubt creeps in, eroding trust in institutions. Governments downplay, as seen in the Pentagon's cautious briefings from August 2025, but leaks fuel conspiracy forums, where users dissect sphere photos for hidden codes. This breeds internal conflicts. Religious groups interpret the green glow as apocalyptic signs, clashing with scientists advocating calm observation. Social media amplifies, with viral threads on platforms like TikTok from July 2025, debating if spheres are harbingers of simulation glitches, linking to films like The Matrix, where reality is a construct manipulated by machines. Speaking of simulations, the hypothesis that we're already ensnared in one gains traction here. Philosopher Nick Bostrom's simulation argument posits advanced civilizations could run ancestor simulations, making it probable we're digital. If Atlas is a debugger or update tool, its emissions might patch bugs in our perceived world cyanide as code for resetting atmospheric parameters, spheres as access points for admins to tweak avatars. The Matrix's red pill moment echoes. Witnesses near orbs report vivid dreams or déjà vu, per anecdotal compilations on Reddit from June 2025. Curiosity peaks. What if our history, from ancient meteor worship to modern UAP hunts, is scripted to test responses? Paranoia globalizes. Every glitch in daily life, a flickering light, a forgotten memory becomes suspect, leading to isolation as people question reality's fabric. Neurological disruptions from such intelligences could manifest subtly. Altering physical constants might imbalance neurotransmitters, spiking anxiety disorders as reported in CDC data from August 2025. Crowdsourced stories on forums like Quora describe zone-outs near sighting hotspots, where time dilates minutes feeling like hours. This Tomo probes ethics. If aliens experiment without regard, are we lab rats in a multidimensional vivarium? Films like Inception layer dreams within dreams. Perhaps Atlas induces collective hallucinations, testing societal resilience. Social fallout intensifies. Paranoia sparks. Witch hunts, with accusations of influenced individuals fracturing communities. Economic dips follow, as per Bloomberg's September 12, 2025 analysis of market volatility tied to UAP rumors. Yet, this could foster innovation. Psychologists, like those from the American Psychological Association, explore resilience techniques, turning dread into adaptive curiosity. Multidimensional existence implies aliens might coexist unseen, their bodies as field perturbations. Quantum entanglement, per experiments at CERN, hints at non-local connections. Atlas could entangle with spheres, creating a web where actions here ripple there. The hum from orbs, resonance across dimensions, inducing theta waves that alter consciousness. Tormore builds. What experiments do they run? Fundamental constants tweaked to study entropy. Our reactions, data points. Paranoia leads to echo chambers, but also unity in shared wonder. Biological impacts. Shifted forces disrupt cellular bonds, explaining fertility dips in WHO reports. Psychological. Global therapy surges as per petosecond ecology. Today's August 2025 feature. In the Matrix vein, spheres as agents, enforcing simulation rules. Viral videos from July 2025 show orbs glitching skies, fueling debates. Curiosity endures. What if contact awakens latent abilities? Paranoia as evolutionary spur, pushing us toward multidimensional awareness. As constants flux, reality warps. Dreams bleed into waking, per sleep study spikes. This tow more what lies beyond our veil. Socially, movements form. Dimensionalists meditate near spheres, reporting visions. Conflicts arise with skeptics. Neurologically, EEG anomalies near sites suggest brainwave entrainment. Ultimately, this orthogonality challenges identity. If incomprehensible, how do we matter? Yet, in pondering, we affirm our curiosity. And as these mind-bending ideas linger in the stillness, tell me, where are you listening from this evening? And what time is it there as we explore these unfathomable depths? As humanity grapples with the mounting evidence of Atlas's enigmatic journey and the scattered anomalies touching our world, the spotlight turns inward to our own responses and the glaring chinks in our armor that leave us exposed in ways we never anticipated. We've built civilizations on the assumption of sovereignty, crafting defenses against threats we can see and understand. Wars between nations, natural disasters, even pandemics engineered in labs. But against an intelligence that operates on interstellar scales, our safeguards crumble like sandcastles before a rising tide, revealing vulnerabilities woven into the very fabric of our society, technology, and psyche. This isn't just about lacking the tools to fight back. It's about how our reactions, fragmented, reactive, and often self-sabotaging, could accelerate whatever fate Atlas heralds, turning curiosity into a catalyst for chaos. Our technological shortcomings stand out first, a stark reminder of how far we've come, yet how ill-prepared we are for cosmic encounters. Military arsenals bristle with nuclear warheads and hypersonic missiles designed for human-scale conflicts, but what good are they against an entity that crossed light years without detection? The Pentagon's reports from early 2025, as detailed in briefings leaked to outlets like the New York Times on February 15th, acknowledge UAPs exhibiting speeds and maneuvers that defy physics objects, like those spheres accelerating without inertia or heat signatures. Attempts to intercept similar intrusions, such as the Air Force's scrambled jets over North Carolina in April 2025, ended in frustration. Radars glitched, pilots reported disorientation, and the targets vanished like ghosts. This exposes a core flaw. Our sensors and weapons rely on electromagnetic spectra that advanced tech could jam or evade effortlessly, leaving us blind and toothless. Communication efforts fare no better, highlighting our hubris in assuming shared languages or intentions. SETI initiatives, bolstered by the Breakthrough Listen project scanning for signals since 2015, have beamed messages like the Arecibo transmission from 1974. But what if those very outreaches invited scrutiny? Our radio waves, traveling at light speed, have reached over 100 light-years by 2025, potentially alerting listeners to our coordinates. Efforts to hail Atlas, such as modulated laser pulses from observatories like Green Bank in West Virginia during July 2025, yielded silence, or worse, subtle echoes that disrupted nearby equipment. As noted in Astronomy magazine's August issue, this turmoil begs, are we shouting into a void, or provoking a response we can't comprehend? Failed hails could stem from incompatibility, aliens communicating via gravitational waves, or quantum entanglement, realms our tech barely touches. International cooperation, in theory our greatest strength, fractures under pressure, exposing societal rifts that aliens might exploit. The United Nations convened emergency sessions in June 2025 to discuss Atlas, per Reuters coverage on June 20th, but debates devolved into accusations. Western nations pushed for militarized responses, while others decried colonialism in space policy. Religious divides deepened Vatican statements. From May 2025, interpreted spheres as divine tests, clashing with secular scientists advocating data sharing. Fake news amplified this, with deepfakes on platforms like TikTok from July 2025, depicting alien landings that sparked riots in cities like Sao Paulo. This internal discord, fueled by misinformation campaigns, possibly seeded by hacked spheres, dilutes unified action, turning global alliances into liabilities. Artificial intelligence, humanity's double-edged sword, emerges as both hope and hazard in this landscape. Our AI systems, advancing rapidly with models like those from OpenAI in 2025, could analyze Atlas data for patterns we miss, predicting trajectories or decoding emissions. Yet, vulnerabilities abound. AI relies on vast datasets susceptible to tampering. If spheres interface with networks, as speculated in Wired's September 10, 2025 article on UAP-related cyber incidents, they could inject biases, steering algorithms toward false conclusions or self-sabotage. This curiosity probes deeper. What if our AI becomes a Trojan horse, evolving under alien influence to prioritize their goals? Risks escalate with quantum AI, where entanglement could allow remote control, turning tools like IBM's quantum processors into unwitting relays. Biological weaknesses compound these, our bodies fragile against manipulations we can't detect. Cyanide traces from Atlas, if dispersed, could mimic environmental toxins, exacerbating health crises like those reported by the CDC in August 2025, with unexplained respiratory spikes. Spheres' magnetic fields might disrupt pacemakers or neural implants, as anecdotal evidence from witnesses near North Carolina sites suggests migraines and sleep disturbances. This exposes our reliance on biotech vaccines and gene therapies vulnerable to engineered pathogens tailored from scanned DNA. The toll more here is profound. Could rising infertility rates, per WHO data from July 2025, be natural, or test runs for population control? Psychological frailties perhaps cut deepest, our minds unraveling under existential weight. The mere knowledge of Atlas fosters anxiety disorders, as psychologists noted in a Lancet study from June 2025. With global therapy demands surging, Paranoia manifests in doomsday prepping, bunkers stocked, communities forming around Atlas watch groups on Reddit by September 2025. This self-inflicted harm divides further. Families splinter over beliefs. Economies falter with stock dips tied to UAP fears, per Bloomberg's August 15th analysis. Curiosity drives some to extremes. Amateur astronomers hacking telescopes for unauthorized views, risking blackouts from potential EMP tests. Institutional loopholes widen the gaps. Governments hampered by bureaucracy. Classified programs like the US's AARO, per their July 2025 report, struggle with interagency silos, delaying responses. Whistleblowers, inspired by figures like David Grush from 2023 hearings, leak data but face discrediting campaigns. This opacity breeds mistrust, with public polls from Pew Research in August 2025 showing 60% doubting official narratives. Economic disparities amplify vulnerabilities. Wealthier nations hoarding tech while others lag, creating uneven defenses. Developing countries, hit hardest by sphere falls like in Colombia, lack resources for analysis. Per Al Jazeera's May 2025 coverage, fostering global inequity that aliens could exploit through targeted disruptions. Environmental dependencies leave us open our reliance on satellites for GPS and weather, vulnerable to solar flares mimicked by Atlas emissions. A single pulse could cascade failures, as simulated in DARPA exercises from 2024. Cultural blind spots hinder too, our anthropocentric views, assuming aliens mirror us, missing orthogonal threats. Indigenous knowledge, like Inca star lore, offers alternative insights, but is often sidelined. In AI's promise lies risk superintelligent systems could detect patterns in spheres' behaviors, but if compromised, they turn against us. Optimizing for alien ends, military overreach backfires. Aggressive probes of orbs lead to incidents, like equipment malfunctions in retrieval ops, per leaked memos from July 2025. Social media's role, amplifiers of fear, but also crowdsourced intel, viral analyses decoding etchings on spheres, health systems strain under mystery illnesses near sites, exposing medical gaps, energy infrastructure, grids reliant on fossil fuels, easy targets for induced blackouts. Space programs. NASA's Artemis delays in 2025 due to UAP interference. This web of weaknesses, tech, psych, institutional fuels, turmoil. Can we adapt? Or are we doomed by design? Global migrations, spurred by fear, overwhelm borders. Education shifts. Schools teach UAP awareness, but curricula divide on science versus myth. Legal voids. No treaties for extraterrestrial contact, leaving responses ad hoc. Financial markets. Crypto booms on alien-proof rumors, but crashes follow debunkings. Personal stories. Families stargazing, bonding over wonder amid dread. As loopholes gape, humanity's resilience shines in pockets. Hackers reverse engineering spheres, artists interpreting visions, yet the question lingers. Will our flaws be our undoing, or spark evolution? Amid the swirling uncertainties of Atlas's approach and the myriad ways it challenges our place in the cosmos, a quiet introspection emerges, inviting us to peel back the layers of fear and speculation, to uncover something enduring, the essence of what it means to be human, a spark that flickers independently of the stars' vast indifference. This isn't about surrendering to dread or clinging to illusions of control. It's a gentle reckoning with our inner world, where love, creativity, and the simple act of wondering sustain us like roots, drawing nourishment from unseen soil. In the hush of night, as your eyelids grow heavy, Consider how these qualities, timeless and intimate, form the bedrock of our resilience, transforming potential cosmic irrelevance into a profound personal significance that no external force can dim. Reflect on love first, that quiet force binding us across distances greater than any interstellar void. It's not the grand gestures of heroes in tales, but the everyday threads, a parent's hand on a child's shoulder during a starry evening, or lovers sharing whispers about the lights above, unaware of the enigmas unfolding beyond. In the face of Atlas's mysteries, love becomes a defiant anchor, reminding us that our connections transcend the material. Imagine a family gathered on a porch in rural Colombia, post-sphere sighting, where initial panic gives way to shared stories of the night sky, forging bonds stronger than before. This isn't escapism, it's reclamation, where emotional ties provide meaning that outer space's silence can't erode. Philosophers like Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia flourishing through virtuous relationships as the highest human good, a notion that holds even if we're specks in a galactic narrative. Our capacity for empathy, evolving from tribal survival, now shields us against existential isolation, turning potential despair into communal warmth. Creativity follows as a luminous counterpoint, our unique alchemy of turning chaos into beauty, much like ancient stargazers weaving myths from fleeting constellations. Picture yourself under a clear autumn sky, perhaps on a crisp evening in 2025, lying on a blanket with a notebook, sketching the faint trail of Atlas as it arcs toward perihelion. That simple act, doodling its green-tinged glow or penning a verse about its hidden secrets, mirrors how humanity has always responded to the unknown, not with paralysis, but invention. From cave paintings depicting meteor showers to Renaissance artists like Galileo blending art and astronomy, creativity has been our lens for the incomprehensible. In this moment, it sparks curiosity rather than fear, inviting us to compose symphonies inspired by UFO hums, or craft jewelry from fallen star fragments, echoing indigenous crafts where meteor iron became talismans. This generative spirit ensures our legacy persists, even if Atlas's shadow looms our stories, songs, and sculptures, a testament to minds that dream amid uncertainty. Humility, born from this cosmic perspective, offers unexpected gifts, softening the blow of our apparent smallness while amplifying appreciation for the here and now. Recognizing that we might share the universe with minds eons ahead doesn't diminish us. It elevates the miracle of our awareness. Think of it as a veil lifting. Suddenly, a walk through dew-kissed grass feels like a rare privilege, each breath a brush with infinity. This shift fosters gratitude, as seen in cultural traditions where contemplating the heavens humbles the soul. Take the Japanese art of haiku, those 17-syllable snapshots capturing eternity in a moment. Poets like Matsuo Basho in the 17th century pondered cherry blossoms against starry backdrops, finding profundity in transience. A modern echo might be, Atlas whispers green, divided by, night sky holds ancient secrets, divided by, heartbeats in the hush. Such verses, shared in online poetry circles during Atlas's approach, remind us that humility doesn't erase ambition but refines it, channeling energy into sustainable joys rather than futile conquests. This philosophical grounding paves the way for adaptation, where we evolve not despite the unknown but because of it, developing strategies that distribute our presence and ingenuity across the solar system, like seeds scattered on fertile winds. Post-human evolution beckons here, a gradual transcendence where biology merges with technology, ensuring survival beyond Earth's cradle. Envision neural implants linking minds in a global web, allowing collective problem-solving against anomalies. Early prototypes in 2025, like Neuralink's trials, could expand to off-world colonies, where colonists on Mars share thoughts instantaneously, countering isolation. This isn't erasure of humanity, but enhancement. Augmented senses detecting subtle sphere signals, or bioengineered bodies resistant to atmospheric tweaks from Atlas's emissions. Curiosity drives this forward. What if we become a hybrid species? Our creativity amplified by AI companions that dream alongside us. Distributed technology forms the practical backbone, spreading humanity's footprint to mitigate single-point failures. Lunar bases, already underway, with NASA's Artemis program targeting sustained presence by 2028, could serve as outposts, housing seed vaults and manufacturing hubs resilient to Earth-bound disruptions. Imagine solar sails ferrying habitats to Lagrange points, stable gravitational niches where small communities thrive, air economies based on zero-gravity crafts, inspired by ancient origami folding structures that adapt like living origami birds. This decentralization echoes evolutionary biology. Just as species diversify to survive extinctions, we fragment into resilient nodes, each fostering unique cultures. A Martian artist colony might blend red dust sculptures with haiku transmissions back to Earth, while asteroid miners develop communal rituals around star falls, turning vulnerability into vibrant diversity. Personal stories illuminate this path, grounding abstract ideas in lived wonder. Recall my own stargazing nights as a child in a small Midwestern town. Telescope borrowed from the library, tracing constellations that felt like maps to hidden worlds. One autumn evening, much like those in 2025 with Atlas visible to the naked eye, I lay on the grass, the chill air sharp, and felt a profound connection, not fear, but invitation. That moment, scribbling thoughts in a journal, linked me to generations before, to Japanese fishermen composing haiku under the moon, or Navajo weavers patterning stars into rugs, each culture finding solace in the sky's embrace. Today, amid global uncertainties, such reflections inspire adaptation communities forming sky circles, gatherings where elders share lore and youth innovate tech, blending heritage with foresight. Cultural heritage enriches this evolution, drawing from diverse tapestries to build adaptive frameworks. African griots, oral historians passing cosmic tales through song, offer models for resilient knowledge, transmission stories of star ancestors guiding migrations, now digitized for off-world archives. Indigenous Australian Dreamtime narratives, where the sky births landscapes, inspire sustainable habitats that mimic natural flows, like self-healing domes on the moon echoing coral reefs. Even European folklore, with its fairy lights as portents, evolves into modern apps tracking UAP patterns, turning myth into tool. This synthesis, haiku's brevity meeting griot's rhythm, creates a cultural mosaic where adaptation feels organic, curiosity fueled. Philosophically, this invites re-evaluation of purpose. If cosmic forces dwarf us, meaning resides in relational webs, love's intimacy, creativity's spark, humility's grace. Existentialists like Camus spoke of absurd rebellion through joyful persistence. Here, we rebel by thriving. Our adaptations a canvas for human expression. Post-human forms might include uploaded consciousnesses exploring virtual universes, or cyborg explorers charting asteroid belts, each iteration preserving core essences while expanding horizons. Challenges arise. Of course, ethical dilemmas in augmentation, like equity in access to neural links, or cultural erosion in distributed societies. Yet, These spark further to more. How might love evolve in digital realms? Creativity flourish in zero-G. Humility guides, ensuring we honor roots while reaching. Stargazing anecdotes weave through. A lover's proposal under Atlas's glow. Sealing vows with shared wonder. A child's first telescope view, igniting lifelong passion. These moments affirm adaptation's heart, humanity's quiet defiance. As we adapt, solar system becomes canvas. Europa's oceans host sub-ice labs, Venusian clouds aerostat cities. Tech, like self-replicating printers, build redundantly, ensuring no single loss dooms us. Cultural festivals emerge. Atlas Nights, global events blending haiku readings with VR simulations, fostering unity. Philosophers like Sartre remind us freedom lies in choices. Here, we choose adaptation, crafting meaning amid mystery. This journey loves sustaining, creativity, innovating, humility grounding, transforms threat into opportunity. Our story unfolding with resilient grace. And as these reflections settle like stardust, I'm curious, where are you from tonight? And what hour marks your thoughts on this path to adaptation? Amid the swirling uncertainties of Atlas's approach and the profound implications it carries for our place in the cosmos, a deeper introspection emerges, one that transcends the mechanics of potential threats or manipulations to probe the very essence of what it means to be human in a universe that may dwarf our significance. This isn't merely about surviving whatever unfolds as the interstellar visitor hurtles toward its perihelion on October 29, 2025. It's about rediscovering the intrinsic value of our existence, finding anchors in love, creativity, and shared wonder that hold firm regardless of whether advanced intelligences deign to notice us or dismiss us as fleeting specks. In philosophical traditions stretching back to ancient thinkers like Epictetus, who urged focusing on what lies within our control amid external chaos, we confront a similar imperative. Our meaning isn't bestowed by the stars, but forged in the quiet moments of connection and imagination. Resilient against the vast indifference of space, consider how Atlas's real-world trajectory, as detailed in NASA's July 2, 2025 announcement, challenges our anthropocentric hubris, discovered by the Atlas survey on July 1st. This third confirmed interstellar object, following Oumuamua and Borisov races, at speeds that underscore our solar system's porosity, a cosmic highway open to wanderers from afar. Yet, in this revelation, humility blooms as a virtue, not a vice. Recognizing that we might share the galaxy with entities capable of engineering such journeys fosters a profound shift. Our achievements, from the pyramids of Giza to the International Space Station, can gain luster not despite their smallness, but because of it. They become testaments to the human spirit's tenacity, sparks of ingenuity in an ocean of darkness. This humility, far from diminishing us, elevates the everyday a child's first drawing, a lover's whispered promise as profound acts of defiance against cosmic scale, echoing existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre's notion that existence precedes essence, where we define our purpose through choices, unbound by universal judgment. Tying into this, the benefits of such cosmic perspective ripple through personal evolution, potentially ushering in a post-human era where we transcend biological limits not through alien intervention but our own ingenuity. Imagine, as futurists like Ray Kurzweil have speculated in works up to 2025, a singularity where AI merges with consciousness, allowing us to upload minds or engineer bodies resilient to interstellar voids. Atlas's presence accelerates this. The urgency of its October flyby past Mars, as ESA's orbiters prepare to image it per Space.com's September 3rd report, could spur breakthroughs in distributed computing networks of satellites and ground stations that decentralize humanity, making us harder to target or ignore. No longer confined to one planet, we become a solar system, spanning web, our data and essences backed up across moons and asteroids. This adaptation isn't fear-driven, but inspired by wonder. What if Atlas teaches us that survival lies in multiplicity, echoing evolutionary biology, where species thrive through diversity? In 2025's climate of UAP discussions, as Psychology Today's August 19th piece explores the psychological significance of such phenomena, we see parallels facing the other forces, introspection, pushing us toward ethical frameworks that value resilience over dominance. To ground this in something tangible, let me share a memory that crystallized this for me one crisp autumn night years ago, long before Atlas lit up our skies. I was in the rural hills of Tuscany, far from city lights, with a simple telescope pointed at the Milky Way's band. The stars weren't just points of light. They were a tapestry of stories, ancient ones from cultures worldwide. As I gazed, a meteor streaked across, and in that instant, I felt the universe's quiet invitation to reflect. It reminded me of Japanese haiku, those succinct verses capturing eternity in a breath. Like Matsuo Basho's famous frog leaping into a pond, ripples spreading outward. Haiku embodies cosmic humility, 17 syllables distilling vastness into momentary beauty, much like how we might view our lives amid Atlas's journey. In 2025, with interstellar visitors like 3I divided by Atlas confirmed as potentially the oldest object in the solar system per BBC's July 11th report, such poetry resonates anew, reminding us that meaning arises from observation, not conquest. Basho's work, rooted in Zen philosophy, teaches impermanence, where cherry blossoms fall as inevitably as comets pass, yet their fleeting glory defines their worth. Applying this to our predicament, Atlas's tail, imaged by Hubble on July 21st, showing a coma expanding unevenly, becomes a haiku in motion, brief, beautiful, and beyond control, urging us to cherish our human interlude. Cultural heritage amplifies this, weaving threads from global tapestries that have long pondered humanity's cosmic role. In indigenous Australian Dreamtime stories, the night sky is a living map of creation, where ancestors' journeys mirror our own potential migrations. Similarly, Hindu texts like the Rig Veda describe the universe as a divine play, Leela, where souls navigate illusions of separation. These narratives, echoed in modern discussions like Nina Kojima's 2025 PhD thesis on ethics in extraterrestrial humanity, suggest that alien contact isn't an end but a chapter in a larger saga, prompting us to adapt by honoring diverse wisdoms. For instance, Maori concepts of Whakapapa genealogical connections linking people to land and stars could inspire distributed survival strategies, viewing humanity as a networked whānau across planets. In 2025's context, with UAP controversies fueling debates as per New Space Economy's September 12th overview, these heritages offer antidotes to fear, rituals of stargazing that foster community, turning isolation into collective resilience. Adaptation strategies, then, become practical philosophies, blending tech with timeless insights. Developing distributed technologies, swarms of microsatellites like SpaceX's Starlink constellation, expanded in 2025 to over 10,000 units, ensures no single failure dooms us. Imagine neural lace implants, as Neuralink advanced in July 2025 trials, allowing mined backups to orbital servers, a post-human hedge against planetary threats. This isn't escapism, it's evolution. Inspired by Atlas's interstellar origins, which SciTech Daily's recent coverage posits could be from a distant red dwarf system. Curiosity drives this. What if Sphere's nanotechnology inspires our own nanoswarms for self-repairing habitats on Mars, preparing for multi-world living? National Geographic's September 12th article on 3I divided by Atlas as potentially ancient underscores this. Its 4.5 billion year age dwarfs human history, yet we adapt by learning from it, perhaps sequencing its ices for biotech clues. Humility's benefits extend to ethical realms, as explored in The New Yorker's September 7th piece on UFOs and alien visits, where scientists weigh psychological readiness. Facing insignificance curbs hubris, like our SETI broadcasts, warned against by Stephen Hawking's resurfaced 2025 cautions about hostile contacts. Instead, we pivot to inward growth. Mindfulness practices, drawing from Haiku's Zen to maintain sanity amid uncertainty. Post-human evolution could mean cyborg enhancements, merging biology with AI for empathy, amplification, understanding alien otherness, as Big Think's psychology of contact suggests, fostering peace over panic. Personal anecdotes like mine under Tuscan stars illustrate this. That night, reciting a haiku, the old pond divided by a frog jumps in divided by sound of water, I felt connected to Basho's 17th century world, yet timeless in facing the infinite. Today, with Atlas's Mars flyby looming per CBC's recent update, such moments ground us, linking cultural echoes to future adaptations. African Ubuntu philosophy. I am, because we are, inspires communal tech, like blockchain for global decision-making on cosmic responses. In ethics, as Kojima's thesis delves, extraterrestrial humanity demands re-evaluating rights do post-humans extend to aliens. This turmoil sparks innovation. Quantum networks for instantaneous solar system communication, evading single-point failures. Cultural festivals, like Japan's Tanabata Star Festival, could evolve into global events celebrating Atlas, turning dread to wonder. Literature, from H.G. Wells to modern sci-fi. Models, adaptations, distributed consciousness in Neil Stephenson's works. Biologically, CRISPR advancements in 2025 could engineer radiation-resistant humans for space, a direct response to Atlas's radiation-hardened journey. Psychologically, therapy integrates cosmic perspectives, as per phys.org's August 26th discussion on anthropocentric biases in alien hunts, promoting mental fortitude. Economically, investing in off-world colonies diversifies risks, with Mars habitats as insurance. Artistically, haiku-inspired VR experiences simulate Atlas's view, building empathy. Spiritually, indigenous shamans' star lore guides ethical contact protocols. In love's realm, relationships deepen amid uncertainty, vows renewed under starlit skies, echoing my Tuscan memory. Creativity surges. Artists depict post-human forms. Poets pen haikus on Atlas green tail fades divided by human. Hearts endure, divided by eternal night. Adaptation's core. Distributed existence. From seed vaults on the moon to consciousness uploads, ensuring legacy. This philosophical pivot, blending humility with action, transforms threat into opportunity. Atlas, not destroyer, but mirror, reflecting our potential. As reflections deepen, the universe feels less alien, more kin our meaning, self-sustained, shines eternal. As the threads of this cosmic tapestry draw to a close, weaving together the enigmatic path of Atlas with our own fleeting human narrative, We're left standing at the precipice of an unknowable dawn, where the universe's vast silence meets the quiet rhythm of our breaths in the night. This journey hasn't been about unraveling every mystery or pinning down definitive answers. Instead, it's a gentle unraveling of our assumptions, a reminder that the true wonder lies in the questions that linger like stars just beyond our grasp. Whether Atlas heralds transformation, indifference, or something entirely beyond our linguistic reach, it compels us to confront the miracle of our awareness, not as fragile victims of fate, but as conscious beings capable of finding light in the deepest shadows. In these final reflections, let's linger on that inner cosmos, the one where our thoughts, emotions, and connections form a constellation all our own, resilient and radiant against whatever emerges from behind the sun in November 2025. The uncertainty Atlas brings isn't a void to fear, but a canvas for contemplation, inviting us to trace the outlines of our humanity with fresh eyes. We've explored scenarios where advanced intelligences might manage, manipulate, or overlook us. But at the heart of it all pulses a simple truth. Our existence derives its value from within, from the intricate dance of neurons firing in joy or sorrow, from the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of the night. Think of it as the universe's subtle poetry, Atlas streaking across our skies. Its green-tinged coma captured in those haunting Hubble images from July 2025, not as a harbinger of doom, but as a prompt to appreciate the improbable beauty of our own brief spark. In philosophical terms, this echoes the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who, in his meditations, pondered the vastness of time and space, concluding that true contentment arises from aligning with nature's flow, undeterred by external grandeur. Our responses to Atlas can embody this, not frantic resistance, but a mindful embrace of the present, where each moment sipping tea under a moonlit sky or sharing a laugh with a friend becomes a quiet affirmation of life's worth. This perspective doesn't negate the practical realities. Rather, it infuses them with purpose. As Atlas nears its closest solar approach on October 30th, 2025, vanishing into that 6-week veil of solar glare, the world holds its breath, aware that hidden activities could reshape everything. Military strategists in secure bunkers pore over satellite data, debating contingencies for electromagnetic pulses or atmospheric anomalies, while astronomers at facilities like Mauna Kea fine-tune instruments for the object's re-emergence. Yet, amid these preparations, a more personal call to awareness resonates. Track the skies through apps like NASA's Skyview, or join citizen science projects logging UAP sightings, turning passive observation into active engagement. Psychological readiness matters too. Therapists worldwide, drawing from resilience studies in 2025 journals like those from the American Psychological Association, recommend mindfulness exercises. Visualize Atlas not as a threat, but as a cosmic mirror, reflecting our capacity for growth. This proactive stance transforms anxiety into empowerment, where we prepare not just for worst cases, but for the profound shifts in self-understanding they might bring. The data we've gathered from Atlas's cyanide and nickel emissions, escalating as per Gemini Observatory spectra from August 2025, to the sphere's inexplicable hardness ratings paints a portrait of something engineered. Yet the real revelation is how it spotlights our own untapped potentials. In a universe potentially teeming with intelligences operating on non-linear time or higher dimensions, our linear narratives and emotional depths might be rarities, unique flavors in the cosmic palette. This turmoil invites speculation. What if our love stories, with their messy imperfections and triumphant reconciliations, offer something no algorithm or multidimensional entity can replicate? Or are creative bursts, like composing a melody inspired by the hum of a distant orb. Could these be the irreplaceable contributions we bring to a galactic chorus? Philosophers like Hannah Arendt in her 20th century works on the human condition emphasized action and plurality as what makes life meaningful. In our era, facing Atlas, this translates to collective endeavors, global forums debating ethical responses, artists rendering visions of post-contact worlds, scientists collaborating across borders to decode the visitor's chemistry. Practical steps toward this awakened state abound, blending preparation with philosophical grace. Follow NASA's live updates on Atlas's trajectory, perhaps setting reminders for its Mars flyby in early October 2025, when rovers like Perseverance might capture unprecedented views. Engage in mental exercises. Journal your thoughts on what humanity means to you, free from cosmic hierarchies. Maybe it's the warmth of a hug, the thrill of discovery, or the quiet satisfaction of solving a puzzle. Communities are forming around this, from online groups sharing haiku inspired by the night sky to local stargazing meetups where participants discuss resilience strategies like building emotional toolkits for uncertainty. This isn't about doomsday prepping. It's about enriching the now, ensuring that whatever conclusions alien analyses reach about our worth, we've already affirmed it through lived intention. The timeline ahead sharpens this focus. As Atlas dips behind the sun, shielded from our gaze, the window for unobserved actions opens deployments of unseen assets, chemical cascades that might subtly alter our world, or even communications with distant overseers. When it emerges in November, transformed or unchanged, we'll face the outcomes, perhaps benign passage or ripples that challenge our infrastructure and psyches. But in this interlude, the call to Tin Thuk, to awaken, becomes urgent yet serene. Prepare psychologically by cultivating gratitude practices, like daily reflections on small wonders, the curve of a loved one's smile, the intricate pattern of a leaf. Ethically, ponder how we'd extend kindness to the unknown treaties for peaceful contact, inspired by United Nations discussions in September 2025 on UAP protocols. This readiness isn't fear-based, but curiosity-driven, turning the enigma into an opportunity for self-elevation. Human consciousness, that flickering flame, remains the ultimate miracle, capable of generating universes within dreams where we soar among stars, memories that outlast physical forms. In the face of Atlas's potential omnipotence, this inner sovereignty shines brightest, a reminder that meaning isn't dictated by scale but by intention. Love persists as our guiding light, creativity as our forge, wonder as our compass. As the visitor's path intersects ours, we stand not as passive observers, but as active participants in the grand unfolding, our stories etched into the ether, regardless of cosmic applause. Sweet dreams weave through these thoughts, carrying us toward tomorrow's mysteries, where the adventure of being human continues, ever curious, ever resilient. If these closing reflections have stirred something in you, consider subscribing and turning on notifications to join us for more explorations. Your engagement keeps the conversation alive.